Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me. I'm Jill Bloom, group publisher of Walls and Ceilings, and welcome to If Walls Could Talk. It's an honor to have with me two guests today. I've got Michelle Meyer, who's the general manager for Clear Choice Restoration, and Trent Cotney, partner of Adams and Reese. Michelle and Trent, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Well, this is going to be a conversation that's really important for every single contractor listening. We're going to be talking about the Dignity Act. And Trent, let's start with you. Can you just explain to everybody who may not know what's the Dignity Act and what's happening?
Sure. Dignity Act is a bipartisan immigration reform bill that attempts to thread a narrow needle, really. And what it's trying to do is strengthen border enforcement while creating a structured legal pathway for certain undocumented individuals that are already here in the U.S. It's designed kind of as a compromise bill. There are a lot of different elements to it. There's a border security and enforcement element, which expands physical and technological border infrastructure. It creates faster asylum processing timelines. It does things like that. But the thing that most people are focused on are a structured legal status. It's not traditional amnesty, which has, been kind of an issue with certain, congressmen and women. Instead, what it tries to do is create permanent residency or citizenship through a multi-step legal status process. And there are a variety of things that have to be done, right? You've got to be in the U.S. for a defined period of time. You got to pass background checks. Obviously, we don't want criminals. There's certain fines that need to be paid. You got to maintain employment, and it's a renewable legal status. So that's a key thing. And the last thing is creating sort of a workforce stabilization mechanism. And the idea behind this for both roofing and construction, pretty much all trades, they want legal work authorization for long-term undocumented workers, employment verification that gives them sort of a clear understanding of who they're working for and why they're working, and trying to modernize and streamline the visa pathways. One of the things we've talked about in the past, Jill, is how archaic the H-2B and other visa processes are within, our current immigration format. It makes it incredibly difficult, very bureaucratic, and it's not just it's not an easy way for workers to be able to come here and work legally. So streamlining that, I think, is going to be important. Obviously, I'm giving you high level. There's a lot more to it than that, but that's sort of what it is in a nutshell.
Got it. Yes, lots to unpack there. There always is, right? More than we always think about. But Michelle, and I'm so glad you're here with me today, too. And thank you so much. I was so grateful when you reached out to me this week because you're really involved with the Minnesota Contractors Association. Tell me kind of how you got what's important to you and why all the contractors like yourself should really know what's going on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So through CAM, Contractors Association of Minnesota, we started a committee, the Labor Advocacy Committee, and we started this early January, right when the Operation Metro Surge started happening, where ICE came into Minneapolis and we're just deporting people. And we started realizing, we're not going to have any laborers this summer. So right now, the crews, they're all in hiding. They don't want to work. They're scared to work. And so we know it's going to affect our industry. And our crews to us are a lot like family. And so I started looking into it and I was like, well, how can we keep them here? To me, there are essential workers. People, a lot of Americans don't want to do roofing. And so the more I was looking into it, I started to realize that we don't really have a way to keep them here or to get them here with a legal status without sending them back to their home country. So I reached out to Trent. Trent got me in touch with Dwayne. And then Dwayne, he told me about these two acts. And the Dignity Act I was like, this is a no-brainer. Why isn't this being passed? This will literally solve all of our immigration problems and keep the guys that we need here.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you helping get the word out because clearly it's being affecting you. So you as a contractor, Michelle, how has it set you back?
We've had repairs that we've needed to work on over the past 2 months. We have nobody. They will not come out of their house. They're saying, no, we're going to maybe March they'll come out. We've had national builders come to us saying, hey, do you have legal crews? Are you willing to partner with us? Because we have no crews either. So, financially it's setting us back because we're not able to get the work done.
Yes. Well, there's a lot to unpack with that Trent, as well. Um, Michelle was your client. How would you help her?
Yeah, it's a very difficult thing to do, and kudos to Michelle and the group over in Minnesota. They're really taking the bull by the horns and being proactive rather than reactive. And I think there's just a lot of things that you can do both from an employer standpoint and an employee standpoint. I think it's important that if you have crews or individuals that are affected, that you as an employer are doing your best to provide them with resources, make sure they understand their rights, being there for them and their families, helping them navigate a lot of these issues. It's a very difficult time for workers that are out there, and I understand the desire and need for sort of a zero tolerance immigration policy, but at the same time, you got to streamline. You got to have a way to allow workers to come here and work legally. And one of the things I think the Dignity Act does is that even though its final version is yet to be seen and it's still in committee and has a long way to go, it does at least create a pathway to allow workers to work here legally. Right? It's not necessarily doesn't necessarily provide full citizenship, but I think it does provide that pathway that's going to get workers in here and make things a little bit easier to understand.
Yeah, and one of the things, Trent, you and I have talked about before too, is that it's really easy. If you need an accountant, it's really easy to go get an accountant. But why is it so difficult for construction?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. We depend, not just us, but agriculture and hospitality. We depend on foreign labor, right? These jobs aren't going to be replaced domestically, and until robots get on a roof, we have it's labor intensive, right? We've got to have a workforce that can perform what needs to be done. So I think as constituents, it's important that Congress hears that we are affected by this, and they need to do something, whether it's some iteration of what the current Dignity Act is now or something different. There's got to be a mechanism to allow people to work here legally, be tracked, be taxed. We don't want criminals. I think most people can agree with that. But at the end of the day, we don't have anything right now that is truly effective.
Yeah. Well, it'll be exciting to be. This is a great opportunity to just do a shout out for Roofing Day, which is coming up in April, right? It looks like
Yep.
Anyway, in April, I'll make sure we put the dates down there in our notes. But and Michelle, have you been to Roofing Day before?
I have not, but
Okay.
we are planning to go out there either for the roofing day or else prior to it to meet with some congressmen to just keep pushing this.
Absolutely. Well, we'll definitely need to rally the troops. This one will be easy to get people to show up to help support some immigration reform. But it's a great opportunity to meet with your congressman, meet with your representatives, and NRCA does a great job to set up all the details. We all just show up. Trent, what would you like to say about Roofing Day, since you've been there multiple times as well?
Absolutely. April 15th and 16th. I think I've been every year. I might have had a conflict for one, but I've been since 2015, I think is when it started. Maybe a little bit later, but I've been to most of them. And I can tell you it will fundamentally change how you view the importance of our industry and making sure that our voice is heard. And, kudos to NRCA, Dwayne Musser, everybody at the lobbying arm. Obviously I defer to them on the latest and greatest as it relates to Congress. But for those that haven't attended, they will prepare you, right? You're going to have a script. You'll know exactly what to say. There are prep sessions. They make it easy, right? It's a great opportunity to network, great opportunity to get in front of the men and women that have been voted into Congress. And I encourage everybody that's listening to attend, because I think now more than ever, it is important that our voice be heard.
Absolutely. And this is a great opportunity and you're never alone, which is great. Even though they prepare you, where there's usually about, I guess when I was there last time, there was about 400 people, and everyone groups together by their state. And it's so well run and makes it really easy. So if anybody needs any questions on Roofing Day, gosh, well, I'll have the website down in the notes, but you can just Google NRCA Roofing Day. You can get all the details. But Michelle and Trent, thank you so much for joining me to spread the word on immigration reform, what's happening with the Dignity Act, how it's affecting you, Michelle. I think it's really important for everybody, whether you're a drywaller or whether you're in the roofing industry. We're all affected. So it'll be great for all of us to let our voices be heard and reach out to your representatives to make sure that they are passing this. And again, Michelle, if anybody has any questions about Clear Choice Restoration, how do they find you?
They can send me an email at Michelle with 1L at clearchoicerestoration.com. And all I can say is people keep spreading this word with this act and just keep pushing it, talking to your representatives, even at the state, local level, and just keep talking about it.
Yeah, sounds great. And Trent, if anybody has any questions for you, how do they reach you?
Sure, Trent.Cotney at arlaw.com or anywhere social at Trent Cotney.
Sounds great. If anybody has any questions for us, it's roofingcontractor.com or wconline.com. Stay safe and healthy, and we can't wait to see you at Roofing Day. Thanks, Michelle and Trent.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jess.